Okay, so moving on to a very interesting theory is that the Gestalt approach to visual perception. The Gestalt principle, developed by the psychologists in the early 20th century, offer a crucial insight into how we perceive and interpret visual stimuli. The word Gestalt, meaning form and shape in German, refers to the holistic approach that the brain uses to organize and simplify visual impression. Dressed-up psychologists discovered that when visual individuals look at incomplete visual information, the brain would automatically try to fill in a gap, constructing a whole form part. This means that even if visual data is fragmented or unclear, the mind will make sense of it based on the context and previous experience. For instance, when presented with a incomplete logo, figure, such as a logo missing part of its design, the brand will instinctively complete the figure to form a recognizable object. This principle can be used in marketing to create logos and images that engage the brand's natural ability to make sense of fragmented or minimalist design. And how we can use this in marketing in specific. Some of the key gestalt principle would include the proximity, the element that are close together are perceived as belongings together. This is important in store layouts and website design, where visual grouping can suggest relationships between product or services. And the second characteristic is similarity. Items that share visual characteristics such as colors or shape or perceived as similar or related. This principle is widely used in branding where consistent color schemes or design elements help reinforce the brand identity. And the next one is closure. This is the tendency of the brand to complete the incomplete shapes. Is commonly used in logo design and advertising to create memorable and instantly recognizable images that require minimal detail for understanding. And the figure ground is that the brand distinguishes the object or the figure from the background, which is the ground. This is why contrast and visual hierarchy are critical in advertising and branding. Without a clear figure ground distinction, the viewer will miss the right message. For example, take the FedEx logo. Did you notice the hidden arrow between the E and the X? Is a clever use of the closure. The brain perceives the arrow without needing it to be fully drawn, creating a clever and memorable element. Yeah, you can visualize it. And the visual perception it is fascinating because incomplete information and brain interpretation is discussed in this part. Again, it's often operate visual perception often operate with incomplete information, right? So the brain is remarkably adept at filling in visual gaps, even when the stimuli are unclear or fragmented. For example, we can recognize a face or object even if some features are missing or obscured. This process is called visual completion, where the brain integrates what is present and infers what's missing based on past experiences and context. For marketers, this characteristic can be leveraged to create designs that evoke a sense of mystery or anticipation, encouraging consumers to mentally fill in the blanks and engage with the brand on a deeper level. Think of how minimalist designs or the abstract ads like those of apples or Coca-Cola, I believe you have seen a lot, can be instantly recognized by consumer just by the logo, despite offering only partial information. They just sing around, they don't even talk, but we know what they're trying to imply, right? And the challenge in visual perception is that while visual perception is a powerful tool, it is not without limitation. Some individuals may experience difficulties in interpreting, combining, and remembering visual impression. Factors such as visual impairments, cognitive limitations, or even cultural differences can affect how visual stimuli are processed. For example, color blindness may affect how someone perceives brand color or product design. Similarly, cultural variation in color symbolism may result in different interpretation of a brand's visual cues. These challenges highlight the need for marketers to consider diversity when designing visual for a global audience, ensuring that messages conveyed through visual stimuli are clear and universally understood. And from a neurological standpoint, the process of visual perception is deeply intertwined with emotional and cognitive response. The brain occipital lobe are located at the back of the head. I will show you the image of the biological build later. The part called the occipital lobe, it is located at the back of the head and it processes the visual stimuli. But more importantly, visual information is often linked with the emotional centers in the brain, such as the amygdala, which often governs emotional responses. This connection would help explain why certain visual cues, such as a well designed logo or a brand color, can trigger powerful emotional reaction even before the consumer consciously acknowledges them. Moreover, research in neuroscience reveals that stimuli can influence decision making through the dopamine system associated with pleasure and reward. For instance, consumers are more likely to make purchase when visual cues like appealing product packaging or a bright, inviting store design activate the brain's pleasure centers. This phenomenon is why companies would invest so heavily in the visual appeal of the product and services. And in marketing, visual cues are not only about what is seen, but about seeing influences behavior and decision making. By leveraging the Gestalt principles, cognitive psychology, and neuroscience, marketers can create visual stimuli that capture attention, trigger emotion responses, and drive consumer action. For branding, the visual identity is critical to brand recognition, of course. Logo, color schemes, and design elements should be consistent and strategically used across various touchpoints, whether in store, online, or in advertisement. And the product display is would reflect the way the product are arranged. It should be lit and presented in a retail space can have a profound effect on how consumers perceive the value and desirability. So marketers need to consider if this, especially if you're working in retail and advertising is a field that works most with visual, right? So visual advertising strategies should engage the viewer's cognitive processes while evoking the emotional responses. And through powerful visual narratives, ads can stimulate desire, reinforce brand loyalty, and encourage immediate purchase. Uh, to wrap it up about this slide, vision is more than just a passive sense. It's an active, a powerful tool that marketers can use to shape our perception, as I said above, and influence behavior and create a lasting impression. And by understanding the principle of visual perception and how the brain processes visual stimuli, marketers can craft experiences that engage both the cognitive and emotional aspect of the consumer decision making, whether it's through Gestalt principle, through neuroscientific insights or practical applications like product design and advertising. Visual marketing remains a cornerstone of successful consumer engagement. And moving on to the explanation of the human eye, the gateway of our visual work. The human eye is one of the most complex and important sensory organ in our body. As marketers, understanding how the eye function and how we perceive the world around us is essential for creating impactful visual experiences. The eye is responsible for 70% of the sensory information we process, making it the dominant sense in how we experience our surroundings. And the eye itself can be seen as a sophisticated camera system designed to capture and interpret the light. But while cameras and would rely on hardware like lenses and sensors, the human eye has evolved to do so much more. The process it can process light and images and connect them to our memories and emotions. Now let's break it down into the organs. First, we have the pupil, which is the light regulator. The pupil is the black circular part of the eye, acts as the aperture or light filter of the eye, controlling how much light enters. Much like the aperture of the camera lens, the pupil dilates how light conditions and constricts in bright conditions. This adaptive response ensures that we can process images clearly in various lighting environments. For example, think about how nighttime driving feels different from um, dur- driving during the day, right? At night, your pupils would dilate to gather as much light as possible, enhancing the vision in the darkness. So it might be a bit tiring for the eye. And this adaptive behavior makes vision flexible and help the eyes adjust different environment, much like a camera adjusting its aperture settings depending on the brightness of the scene. And the cornea and the lens is the focus on the light. The cornea and the lens would work together to focus light onto the retina. The cornea is the eye's first lens, bending the light that enters the eye, while lens fine-tunes the focus to ensure a sharp image. This system is similar to how a camera lens focuses light to capture a clear picture. For example, the focusing system of the eye is so precise that it allows us to switch between objects at a different distance. Consider a photographer focusing on a subject in the distance and then quickly adjusting the focus to capture a close up figure. Our eyes can do this almost instantaneously, adjusting for near or far distance right away, which is the key for capturing clear images in everyday light. And finally, the vitreous body and the retina are the image capture. So once the light is focused by the cornea and the lens, it passes through the vitreous body, the jelly-like substance inside the eye, and reaches the retina. The retina acts as the sensor in the camera. It will capture the image formed by the light. It contains millions of photoreceptor cells, rods, which detect light intensity, and the cones, which detect color. The rods are responsible for low light vision, helping us to see in dim environment, and the cone will help detect colors and fine detail, and are concentrated in the fovea, which is the center of the retina. For example, when you walk into a movie theater, a dark movie theater, your rods are activated by the dim lighting, helping you adjust to the low light environment. And once you sit down and the movies begin, your cones will take over, allowing you to see vibrant color and details on the screen clearly. And the optic nerve would send the signal to the brain. The electrical signals generated by the photoreceptors in the retina are sent through the optic nerves to the brain's visual cortex, where the brain processes the signal into a recognizable image. The process is similar to how a camera memory card stores the image data and then transmit it into computer for further processing. Move on to the interplay between vision and other senses. So vision doesn't work in isolation. It is part of a integrated sensory experience where other senses like touch, hearing, and taste help reinforce what we see. This is this multisensory experience that marketers leverage to create deeper connection with consumers. For example, when you enter a luxury store like the Chanel or the Louis Vuitton on Winghua Street, for example, your eyes might first be drawn to the sleek, elegant display, but your sense of touch is activated as you feel the soft leather of a bag. You want to buy a bag and you want to touch it, yeah. And meanwhile, soft background music creates a relaxing atmosphere. All this sensory input will work together to reinforce the brand luxurious identity. So, in conclusion, a human eye isn't just a passive receptor of light. It is a organ that engage with your surroundings and provide essential information to the brand. In marketing, vision plays a central role in shaping consumer behavior and creating impactful brand experiences. And by understanding how the eye and the brand work together, marketing can design visual experiences that not only attract attention but also engage emotion and influence decision. In sensory marketing, visual cues are more than just aesthetics. They are powerful signals that guide consumers' decisions and shape brand perception, whether through color psychology, Gestalt principle or a multisensory integration. Visual is a essential tool for integrating memory and effective marketing strategy. And moving to the psychological aspect of the visual perception. So, the have you ever noticed that you remember visual acts much better than ones with just text? Think about the almost thought commercial advertising. The color, the warmth, the feeling of joy, it sticks with you, doesn't it? It is no accident. Our brain are wired to respond powerfully to these kind of visuals. In fact, since the 1960s, researchers have shown that images of photos in advertising are remembered far more easily than text-based ads. This is because our brain processes visual information faster with greater emotional impact than words. Think about your own experience. When was the last time you remembered a powerful image of scene from a TV commercial? I think it's most likely as long as you watch it. It wasn't the words or product features that make you can remember, right? It was the emotion or the feeling or the image that it triggered. So, the visual information is far more over verbal. So, why picture speaks louder? Do you wonder? In the 1990s, researchers has found out that visual information wasn't just easier to remember; it was more effective than verbal information in advertising. Think about it. How many times have you bought something based on image or video that evoke your emotion? Or even if the works doesn't explain every single feature. For example, when Nike shows a powerful athlete in slow motion, wearing these shoes and pushing the limits, it's not about the technical details. It's about the feelings. It's about the what you feel inside when you get from seeing that athlete push the limit in the store. Your brain doesn't need words to understand the emotion behind the ads. It's all in the visual story. In fact, emotions are the silent drivers of purchase intent. It's not just cognitive thinking that influence purchase decision. Emotion is also a huge factor in why we choose one product over another. Emotionally appealing ads are far more memorable. Uh, are far more memorable and effective than ads that don't connect on emotional level. Imagine walking into a store and seeing two different products. One has a cold, harsh lighting, generic design, no emotional appeal, and the other has a warm lighting on it, a cozy atmosphere around, and a feel good vibe with bright colors and a smiling face on the packaging, for example. Which one would you gravitate towards? Most people would choose the second one, not because of any functional reason, but because it feels better. That's all. That's the power of emotion in visual stimuli. Now let's break it down. When we see positive visual like family enjoying a holiday meal or a smiling person receiving a gift, our brain release endorphins, the feel good chemical hormones inside our body, which make it feels happy, and we associate those positive emotion with the brand. For example, think about any third advertising, the soft glowing light, cozy house, family gather around, mom cooking. Yeah, they usually use those images a lot. It elicits a sense of warmth and togetherness that makes us feel happy, right? And we associate that emotion with the brands on the ad. So, how exactly do emotions influence memory and buying decision? So, when we experience emotionally positive acts, they not only make us feel good in the moment, but they also make the brands more memorable. Why? Because emotions are tightly connected to memory. When something makes us feel strong emotion, we're more likely to remember it. Think about it, how easy it is to recall the last funny act you saw or the last tear-jerking commercial. It sticks with you because your emotion is anchored with your memory. Now let's bring this back to purchasing. When you are in a positive emotional state, your brain processes information in a more flexible and automated way. You are more likely to adapt, to accept where weak argument or a low quality detail because your mood is uplifted by the brand emotional appeal. So when Coca-Cola ads show a group of friends laughing together, sharing a drink, the positive mood leads you to think that, oh, that looks fun. I want to be part of that. Even if the ad doesn't mention a product, ingredient, or feature, you're more likely to buy Coke because you're more emotional and attached to the ads, and it influences your buying decision. Let's talk about emotional valence, a psychological term that describes whether emotion is positive or negative. Positive valence occurs when an ad makes you feel happy, excited, or optimistic. This is the type of emotion that leads to favorable brand attitudes, increase the purchase intent. On the other hand, negative valence arises from ads that makes us feel fear, guilt, sadness, or anger. While this can be effective in certain contexts, think of public service as warning about danger of unhealthy behavior. It generally harm a brand perception if it's used improperly in consumer advertising. For positive balance example, I suggest the Dove Real Beauty campaign. It uses real women for different shapes, size, skin tone to celebrate diversity and confidence. It creates a positive emotional connection by involving feeling of self-love and empowerment. Viewers are associate this positive emotion with the Dove brand, making them more likely to choose Dove over other brand. And a negative balance example are those smoking cessation and as showing the graphic images of health risks and trigger fears and discomfort, but it works to discourage a negative behavior. However, a negative balance in regular brand advertising, for example, fear endorsing car ads, can leave a bad taste and diminish brand appeal. We move to the impact of color, shape, and design. Visual cues like color, shape, and design can elicit both cognitive and affective reaction. Think about the packaging design of a luxury product versus a budget product. So the luxury packaging often have a sleek, shiny, minimalist design with black uh, and gold colors to communicate elegant and high quality. That trigger cognitive and make you feel special, which is an effective side, right? And the budget packaging would often goes with a bright, bold design with fun, quirky color. Maybe might appeal to a younger audience and evoke feeling of youthfulness and energy. It is effective while also reassuring the consumer about the value, which is the cognitive. Both type of packages are designed to elicit positive emotion and to communicate value or prestige. Yes, the approach differs based on the target market's perception and expectation of the product. So, in conclusion, visual stimuli are not just about aesthetic, they have deep psychological impact of both cognitive and emotional level. When brand use visual effectively, it will shape attitude, enhance memory, and drive purchase decision. The use of emotion, whether through color, design, or imagery, allows brand to build stronger connection with consumer, making the brand memorable and reliable in the consumer's mind. Through emotional engagement and visual storytelling, brand can create experiences that resonate with customers long after the ad is over. This is true power of visual stimuli in advertising. It goes beyond information and tap uh, directly into the consumer heart and mind, influencing their perception and ultimately guiding their decision. Moving on to visual perception and societal culture. So, what is visual perception? Visual perception is the process through which individuals recognize, interpret, and make sense of visual cues and stimuli in their environment. Simply put, this is how we see the world and make meaning from what we see. This process forms the foundation of human behavior in any environment, whether it's at home, in a store, or on the road. Visual perception is not just passive observation, it's active. It involves constant interaction between the individual and their surrounding. As we process visual information, we don't just passively absorb everything around us. Instead, we're focusing on certain cues based on our interests, motivations, and social context, and filter out the rest. This means that each person's visual perception is unique to them, influenced by individual experiences and cultural background. For example, have you ever been walking in a busy street and suddenly noticed a bright billboard or a colorful storefront? This immediate recognition comes from your brain selecting visual stimuli that are relevant to your interest or your need in that moment. The same happens in marketing. Ads and product design are crafted to attract the right attention from consumers. And visual perception would begin with the sensation process, where light enters the eye and the brain process this light into images, as I said above. However, it doesn't stop there. Perception would be inherently selective. This means individuals don't pay attention to every visual stimulus in their environment. Instead, they focus on what aligns with their interests or offers satisfaction. For example, while walking through a crowded street, you may not notice the background noise or traffic or the facial expression of the strangers, but you might instantly recognize a familiar brand logo or beautiful advertisement. Visual perception is not passive act, it's deeply linked to personal interests and cultural influences. For instance, some individual are naturally more attuned to visual details like color contrast, design patterns, or product packaging, while others may need more explicit cues to catch their attention. This trait varies between people, and some individuals are especially good at noticing visual changes and differences around them. And different individuals respond to visual stimuli in unique ways. Some people are highly sensitive to visual cues and can spot color changes, design differences, or light variation in the environment faster than others. These individuals don't require much cognitive energy to process visual information. They are more instinctively drawn to visual stimuli. For example, a person with strong visual preferences might instantly notice a bright colored sales sign in a store, while someone with lesser visual sensitivity will might pass it by without a second glance. So think about an artist or a designer. They might notice the smallest detail, the alignment of shape of the way the light interact with texture. So their half trained eye. Then the trained eye enables them to detect this feature quicker than most, allowing to make decisions based on subtle visual cues. So the same for marketer. This means understanding who's their target audience is and whether they're catering one who are visually sensitive or those who needs more explicit guidance is highly advisable. And some individuals have the ability to visualize mental images, a process where the brain creates a picture from the mind rather than from the external stimuli. This ability is often seen in athletes who mentally rehearse plays or routine before competitions. In these situations, visual stimuli from the outside world may not be as important because they have internal mental image they rely on. And we There's also gender difference in visual perception. It has been widely documented that gender differences play a role in how visual information is processed and perceived. Women and men often react differently to visual stimuli, especially in emotional contexts. Studies show that women tend to have a more stronger instinctive response to visual stimuli in in the environment, particularly when it comes to abstract shapes and name objects. This means women are often better at recognizing and categorizing objects, especially through symbolic significance. They are also more likely to respond emotionally to visual stimuli, which can affect their evaluation of a product or a brand. For example, a fashion ad that uses abstract design element combined with subtle emotion cues like a smiling model or soft color pattern may evoke a stronger emotional reaction from women who often have a high-handed response to these stimuli. And while men may process visual information with similar speed, they often focus more on the practical and functional aspect of the product, such as the design, the shape, and the functionality. For example, men may pay attention to the strange of or the technical feature of a car ad rather than the emotional cues in their background. However, men also show greater activity when exposed to erotic images, which is often tied to sexual selection mechanism. So, for example, you may notice that when watching a car commercial, a man may immediately notice the engine space, the engine specs, I'm sorry, the car's durability and its design. Meanwhile, a woman might focus on the aesthetic appeal of the car that fits into her lifestyle or emotional needs or not. So, one key finding is that women tend to have stronger emotion than emotional responses to pleasant and unpleasant images than men. For example, as that use warms positive visual like family moments, love, joy, tends to elicit stronger emotional reaction in women than in men. In contrast, men might not react as strong to those same as, but may have more uh, intense response to erotic visual or action oriented content. For example, a Disney commercial, they might evoke warmth, nostalgia, and a sense of belonging in women, while a sport car, as with fast food, action shots might capture men's attention and trigger an emotional response linked to excitement and power. Move on to the societal culture. Cultural context also play a significant role in how visual stimuli are interpreted. Societal norms, values, and experience shape the way people perceive and react to visual cues. For example, the meaning of color can vary significantly across culture. In Western culture, red often represents passion, excitement, or danger. In China, however, red symbolizes happiness, good fortune, and prosperity. In the US, black is often associated with elegance and sophistication, while in many Asian cultures, black can represent mourning or death or um, unfortune. This cultural nuances influence how advertisement and products are perceived in different regions. Marketers need to be aware of the differences and ensure that their visual branding resonates with local audiences. For example, a brand campaign that worked well in the US, where bright colors or bold imagery are used to evoke energy and confidence, it might not be as successful in Japan with that purpose, where subtlety and minimalist design are more highly valued. So visual perception is influenced not only by individual preferences but also by cultural factors. So one of the most fascinating discoveries in visual perception is how different cultures group focus their attention when viewing the same image of scene. Research by Chua in 2005 found that Southeast Asian and Westerners have distinct visual focus pattern when process image. Southeast Asian would tend to focus more on the relationship between the object, the focal object, and its background. This means that they are more likely to pay attention to the context and the surrounding environment, integrating all elements of the visual scene. This perception is more holistic, seeing how everything fits together in a broader concept. For example, in Chinese advertising, a product might be shown in an environmental context that emphasize harmony and balance. The focus might be on how the product interacts with the environment, suggesting that it is part of a larger connected whole. For example, an ad showing a smartphone in use within the home setting emphasize balance between the technology and family, appeals to a cultural value of balance and community. And you can see this advertising of maybe Coca-Cola in China. Yeah, the Coca-Cola is very small and it features a family gathering looking at that Coca-Cola, right? And Westerner, on the other hand, typically focus on the central object of the primary subject of the image, ignoring the background or peripheral details. This visual focus is more individualistic, where the object is seen as the star of the scene. For example, in Western art for a car, the car will be shown as the primary focus, with minimal attention to the background. The ad will show focus on the car design and features, which are speed, performance, highlighting the individual experience of owning and driving the car. This difference in visual attention reflects broader cultural tendencies. Eastern culture value context and relationship, while Western culture would value individualism and focus. Understanding this can help marketer design ads that resonate with cultural value and draw the right attention. And color also plays a significant role in how we perceive and react to visual stimuli. However, color perception varies across different cultures, affecting how certain colors are interpreted and the emotion they evoke. Southeast Asia tend to be more sensitive on subtle color changes and are better at detecting variation in color across a wider area. It means that in marketing, gradual color transition or multicolored palette in design might capture the attention in a more effective way. For example, a Southeast Asian consumer like Vietnam consumer for Vinamilk may be more drawn to a gradient background and subtly shift from a blue to green on the product package, noticing the change in tone and associating it with calmness or growth. American, on the other hand, are quicker in detecting color changes in the center of the image and may focus more on primary colors or central visual elements. They are often more attuned to bold contrast and can process change in strong centralized color faster. For example, a bold red in a billboard is likely to attract an American's attention because of the sharp contrast it creates, signaling urgency or excitement. This difference shows that advertising the color strategy needs to be adjusted accordingly to the audience cultural background to be more effective in drawing attention and creating emotional resonance. And with certain ethnic groups, even more subtle differences in color preferences emerge. Story shows that a specific group associate with certain colors with different emotions and values. For example, Chinese ethnic group have shown varying responses to color red and blue. Red is often associated with luck and celebration, especially during festivals like the Lunar New Year, while blue is seen as calming and relaxing. These preferences can influence which colors are used in product packaging or brand design. For example, in China, a luxury product might use red packaging to, like the moon cake, to evoke feelings for good fortune and exclusivity, while blue may be used for products associated with health or calmness. And about the visual symbolism, it is the power of visual cues in branding and consumer behavior. Visual symbolism is the use of images, colors, shapes, and design to convey deeper meaning beyond the surface level. These symbols carry emotional weight and are essential in creating brand identity. Products are often purchased not just for their functionality, but because they represent something symbolic, such as status, such as identity, or aspirations. Colors, design, and shapes are all symbols that convey specific meaning about a brand identity and value. These symbols are used by marketers to connect the product with the consumer's identity and aspiration. For example, Apple uses minimalist design and sleek shapes in both its product and packaging. The clean, simple design symbolizes innovation, modernity, and sophistication. Consumers who buys Apple product are often buying into a lifestyle or aspiration, not just the product itself. For example, another one is Mercedes-Benz logo, a silver star inside a circle, symbolize luxury, symbolize prestige and exclusivity. The design is simple yet elegant, which conveys a sense of timelessness and high quality, appealing to consumers seeking status and achievement. In different societal cultures, symbol would hold varied meaning. For example, in Western culture, color like red symbolize love and passion, while Chinese culture, red symbolize luck and celebration. This cultural variation is why global brands often customize their visual symbols to fit different markets. For example, a brand that uses red in its logo or product packaging in the US may want to ensure that red also aligns with positive connotations in other countries they are trying to expand to, like China, where it symbolizes fortune for the red. Therefore, McDonald's, KFC use the red and yellow in the logos as store designs to stimulate hunger and excitement. But they also understand that red in different culture can have different meaning. So in Japan, red symbolize happiness and energy, making it an effective color for this brand. So they are all positive. So that's why they don't change. They keep on using it, and the branding visual symbols can be deeply tied to cultural rituals, holidays, and religious events. Marketer who wants to tap into symbolic value of these elements must understand how specific colors, shape, or symbols are perceived in different cultural contexts. For example, in Southeast Asia, marketers might incorporate supernatural symbol, lucky number, or even religious imagery into marketing campaign to create a strong emotional ties to the brand. In Thailand, for example, golden element may be used in product design to convey prosperity and divine favor. Now move on to the service environment. Uh, Now the visual stimuli and their impact in any service environment. Visual stimuli are crucial for shaping consumer experience. Whether you are walking into a restaurant, a retail store, or a hotel lobby, the first impression is largely based on what you see. In the field of visual marketing, it's essential for businesses to understand how nonverbal stimuli influence emotional and cognitive responses. The atmosphere of a service environment is shaped by the visual cues, which contribute significantly to the consumer mood, attitude, and purchase behavior. Visual stimuli are processed through the stimulus, organism, and response SOR model, which suggests that stimuli is the environment influence of the emotional states, which turn lead to approach or avoidance behavior later on. So the K classification of stimuli are ambient factors, which is the background stimuli below your awareness, and design factor are the stimuli at the forefront of awareness, and the social factor, which is the people in the environment around us. Let's break down each of these categories and see how they influence consumer behavior. The ambient factor are the background stimuli that often go unnoticed but still affect consumer behavior. These are things we typically don't pay attention to actively, but they have significantly psychological impact on how we experience the service environment. For example, the air quality, the temperature, the humidity, the ventilation in the space can greatly impact comfort. For example, an overheated store or a cold restaurant may cause discomfort, affecting how consumer feels and behave in that environment. The sound, maybe the level, the pitch, and the genre of the sound also influence emotions. For instance, calm, relaxing music in a spa can promote relaxation, while upbeat or an energetic music in a fitness center can enhance motivation. And the intensity of the scent as well as the cleanliness of the environment play a big role. Pleasant scent can enhance the shopping experience, while bad odors can immediately turn a customers off. So, for example, when entering a luxury retail store, the ambient air quality and soft background music could create an overall atmosphere of comfort and exclusivity, which make us customer feels more willing to spend. For the design factors, there are visual elements that are more noticeable and consciously processed by consumers. These elements are the physical component of a service environment that influence both aesthetic and functional experience. The aesthetic design is that it refers to the element that contribute to the beauty or aesthetic appeal of the environment, such as the architecture, the lighting, the color. A visual appealing environment often leads to positive emotion and favorable evaluation of the brand or service. For example, a high-end boutique uses elegant minimalist architecture, soft lighting, and neutral colors to create a luxurious, calming environment. And the functional design is that the element focus on usability and practicality, such as the layout, the signage, the material choices. They guide the consumer's behavior by making the environment easy to navigate and comfortable to use. The social factor are the ones in the environment around. This includes both service staff and other customers whose behavior and appearance significantly influence the atmosphere. The audience, which is the other customer, the presence of them can make a service environment feel either crowded or inviting. A busy restaurant with a lively crowd may create an energetic atmosphere, while an empty one may feel lonely and unwelcoming. But for spa, for example, they don't like a lot of people, so it depends. And a service staff, the behavior or appearance of them play a crucial role in shaping positive or negative consumer experience. Friendly and well-dressed staff would create a welcoming atmosphere, while rude or unprofessional staff can quickly sour a customer experience. And inside, we can say is that ambient factors may not be consciously noticed, but they are deeply influence the overall atmosphere and comfort of the uh, environment. Design factors are the most visible element and have immediate impact on customers, and the social factor would reflect the human element around, and the attitude and appearance of them influence on how customer perceive of that place. So, when applied to retail environment, visual stimuli are the first thing that capture consumers' attention. Whether you in a small boutique, a mall, or a restaurant, the design and layout are built to elicit emotional reaction and drive consumer behavior. For example, in a high-end boutique, the color scheme, the lighting, everything are designed to create an aesthetic experience that enhance your perception of luxury. On the other hand, in a fast food restaurant, bright colors, bold signage, and open layouts must be used to encourage quick service and impulsive decision making. So, in service environment, visual stimuli go beyond just making space look good. They are fundamental in shaping consumer experience. By carefully managing these stimuli, companies can create environment that encourage positive emotion, guides consumer behavior, and ultimately drive sales. Understanding how each type of stimulus interact and impact consumer behavior is key to design the service spaces that attract, engage, and retain customer. And move on to the power of architecture. Architecture in service environment isn't just about design and functionality. It's about shaping the human experience. The way a space is built and dramatically influence how people feel, think, and act about it. Let's go beyond the basic of ceiling height and window placement and delve into how architectural elements subtly influence behavior, emotional engagement, and even brand perception. So the design of space has a profound impact on how individual move and interact with product or service. This is especially true in retail environment where store layout can encourage or discourage specific behavior. For example, the layout of a store, whether it's open and spacious or narrow or crowded, can affect the way consumers feel about shopping in the space and their willingness to engage with it. Open space would promote a sense of freedom, encourage consumers to explore the store and its product leisurely. In contrast, narrow spaces create a sense of urgency, making the shoppers feel like they need to make quick decisions and move through the store faster. So the flow of consumer movement is another powerful tool. Retail spaces can be designed to guide consumers' attention to key product or areas. For instance, a well-designed store might have open aisle that gently lead you to a feature product section. These spaces encourage curiosity, exploration, making consumers feel like they are discovering something new. For example, Apple Store are famously known for their minimalist layout with open spaces, aisles, and carefully curated product display. This design encouraged consumers to walk around and try different um, the gadgets, interact with the product, and engage with staff, fostering a feeling of exploration and discovery. Emotions are one of the most significant driver of consumer decision, and architecture play a major role in it. From color choices to lighting, the emotion response that architect elicits, the influence now connected a person feels to a space and by extension the brand. We've already discussed how color affect emotional response, but let's dig deeper. Different shades of color in a place can evoke specific feelings. For example, blue for calm trust, security, making it ideal for a financial institution or healthcare environment or where trust and stability are key. The green is evoked with feeling of growth, health, nature. So brands that focus on sustainability and retreat often use green in their design to align with their eco-friendly value. So, in the case of luxury brand, white and black are often used to evoke elegance and sophistication. High-end stores like Gucci, Chanel, YSL often use neutral tones or too white in their architectural design to promote a sense of exclusivity. And a right lighting can completely transform the mood of a space. Soft lighting tends to create a warm, inviting atmosphere, while harsh fluorescent lighting can make a space feel sterile and unwelcoming. In restaurant environment, for example, dim lighting combined with warm color can create a romantic intimate atmosphere, encourage people to stay longer and enjoy the experience, like talking with friends and enjoy the meal. In contrast, bright, harsh lighting in a fast food chain can create a sense of quick turnover, influencing consumer to make faster decisions and live quickly and leave space for other people. And boundaries, whether they are physical walls or psychological barriers, plays a crucial role in shaping how people experience a service environment. Um, for the invisible boundaries, even in open space, layout and arrangement of furniture or display items can create subtle boundaries that guide behavior. These invisible boundaries create a sense of privacy and personal space, make customers feel more comfortable in the space. For example, Starbucks does this well by using tables and chairs that encourage customers to sit down in like distant booth and relax. This helps foster an environment where customers feel welcome to stay longer, enjoy the coffee while working or socializing. And on a deeper psychological level, physical barriers like walls, partition, and displays can create a feelings of comfort or confinement. For example, in a retail store, closed off display can make customers feel protected while they explore, while open aisle can make them feel a little bit overwhelmed by too many choices. So in grocery stores, you can see stores often place high shelves to create an enclosed shopping experience, making it feel like customers are in their own personal space. Meanwhile, luxury boutiques would often use open, airy design to create a feeling of exclusivity. And architectural design doesn't just impact consumer mood, it also plays a role in how individuals see themselves. Retail spaces can be used as a reflection or personal identity, aligning the store aesthetic with the consumer's value and self image. It might create identity that marketer often design store or environment reflect the value of the specific target group. This helps customer feel connected to the space, reinforcing the sense of identity. For example, a sportswear store like Adidas would create an environment where consumers feel like part of a community of athletes, with dynamic display, bright lighting, and action-oriented visuals that align with the consumer identity as an active athletic individual. And personalization means that some spaces, like high-end retail store or boutiques, make extensive use of personalized design, where the interior design subtly matches the consumer value. The luxury experience in this environment is designed to make uh, consumer feel unique, reinforcing the status of individuality. So, moving on to the color, color plays a powerful and often subconscious role in shaping our experience, emotion, behavior, especially in service environment. It has been used in ancient time, even as far back ancient Egypt. This historical use of color highlight its emotional and therapeutic power. In the modern world, color continues to be an essential visual stimulus that influences how we feel and how we behave in an environment that, like retail store, a restaurant, or even online shopping platform. So colors affects us in ways that we don't always consciously realize, but its impact is strong and pervasive. Color influence both emotion and cognitive reactions, which in turn guide our decision and behavior. For instance, blue shades are generally linked to relaxation and calmness, where red evokes energy, passion, and sometimes danger. These reactions are not just cultural or learned; they are biologically hardwired into us. So let's break down the six main colors and their psychological impact. Red would be associated with when you see red price tag at a store, it immediately signals you that something may be on sales, right? Driving you to act quickly. This is why red often used in discounted promotion because it is linked with urgency. Yeah, and yellow. It's often seen in sale signs or clearance bins because it stimulates mental activity and encourage quick thinking. But in hazardous context, like it might evoke cautions a little bit, like yellow warning label in the street, and orange in advertisement for fitness product or sports drink. Orange is commonly used to evoke a sense of vitality and youthfulness. And the green is we have talked a lot about it, and the blue is used in many financial institutions. And purple, like Tiffany and Co., use a distinctive purple lighting, yeah, to create a sense of luxury and exclusivity, making it one of the most iconic color in jewelry industry. And while psychological impact of colors can be universal, their meanings can vary significantly across cultures. Different societies interpret the same color in vastly different way too, and this is a critical consideration for global marketers. Red in cultures often symbolize love and danger, but in China, is considered something else. As and yellow, while associated with cheerfulness and optimism in some culture, may also be a symbol of caution. In Asia, yellow can be tied to sacred and royal meaning, often seen in Buddhist contexts. So it's important to note that individual perception of color can differ. We may all experience red or blue, but we don't necessarily feel the same way about it. For example, one person might find blue soothing and comforting, while another might associate it with coldness, sadness, boring. This variation is influenced by personal experiences, cultural background, and even your neurological factors. For example, a sport car might be red for one person, symbolizing excitement and adrenaline, show off, like class, yeah. For another, it could symbolize danger or recklessness. Similarly, yellow might evoke a sense of happiness for someone, but for other, it might feel a bit too overstimulating. So how does it influence consumer behavior in retail setting? In retail environment like spa, health stores, high-end salons, soft blues and green tones create a calming atmosphere, encouraging customers to take the time and relax. And colors like red and yellow are commonly used in sales promotion and clearance event because they evoke feelings of urgency and excitement. And sophistication and exclusivity colors like black, gold, purple are why high-end brands and luxury products would use them a lot, and metallic tones too, to signal their prestige and high values. So in conclusion, colors is more than just a visual cue. It's a psychological trigger that can significantly influence emotion, behaviors, and decision making. And marketers and service providers who understand the psychological impact of color can strategically use it to shape consumer experience or avoid unwanted attitude, drive purchasing decision, and foster a deeper connection with the brand. Moving on to the design. When we think of product design, we often associate with physical appearance of a product, the way it looks, it feels, it smells. However, the true power of design extends far beyond aesthetic. It's one of the most influential visual stimuli that shapes both cognitive and emotional reaction from consumer. At the first point of contact with a product, if design plays a crucial role in attracting attention and creating a positive emotional response, a product's shape, color, texture, and overall style provide a sensory experience that help establish connection between the consumer and the brand. Design become an extension of the brand identity, and its ability to communicate symbolic meaning and evoke emotion cannot be underestimated. Let's break down the element of product design and explore how it influences a consumer decision. So, product design isn't just a way to making things look nice; it's a strategic tool to communicate the brand essence. To design, the company can signal a range of attributes about its product, such as quality, innovation, and luxury. An example is the Absolute Vodka. The bottle shape, the color, the minimalist design are direct reflection of the brand identity, symbol, bold, and sophisticated. The so distinctive bottle shape is the most recognized in the beverage industry at its time, and it instantly conveys a sense of premium quality and style. So when you see an Absolute Vodka bottle, you immediately associate it with premium style. And similarly, BMW brand is strongly connected to timeless design. Uh, its divine engine grille on the front of the car, known as the kidney grille, is a key design feature that sets it apart from other car brands. Its simple yet effective design element make the car recognizable and reinforce the brand identity. So the moving on to the role of shape, color, and material in design. So the shape of the product is more than just how it fits into your hand. It conveys meaning. It's a combination of form and function, and together with color and material, it form a complete aesthetic experience. Uh, it's the first thing that you're gonna see, right? And the texture and material of the product also play a crucial role in shaping perception. For instance, a soft touch feel of a high-end phone case or the matte finish of a designer watch can elevate consumer perceived value of the product. High quality material like stainless steel, glass, leather are often used to communicate luxury and exclusivity. For example, the use of premium leather in luxury bags like the Hermes, the Louis Vuitton, not just about durability. It's about symbolizing status and craftsmanship. This tactile experience touching the leather adds another layer of luxury to the product, reinforced by a sense of indulgence. And one of the key aspects of product design is the balance between aesthetic, how something look, and functionality, how something work. While both important, they both successfully product the most successful product and brands manage to blend form and function in a way that serves both emotional need and practicality. And product design has the power to influence consumer emotion deeply. An attractive design that doesn't just catch attention, it creates connection. The emotional bond that people form with product often arises from how the product makes them feel, and much of it is dictated by the design element. When a product design appeals to consumer sensory pleasure and make them feel good, they are more likely to evaluate the product positively. This emotional engagement can improve brand loyalty and increase the likelihood of repeat purchase. For example, when you hold a well designed product, whether it's a luxurious car or a handcrafted watch, the pleasure derived from the aesthetic experience influence your evaluation of this value. And conversely, an unattractive product design or one that feels cheap can create negative emotion. If a product looks sloppy, poorly designed, it doesn't align with the customer expectation or quality, it can result in dislike or disengagement as the provider gap number 4 or number 1. And logos are the face of the brand, and their design plays a vital role in shaping consumer emotion, influencing brand recognition, and reinforce the brand identity. A logo is often the first visual point of contract that the customer has with a brand. It's more than just a symbol, it's a representation of what the brand stands for. The emotional and psychological impact of logo influences how customer feels about the brand, and this can shape the perception and buying decision. A logo creates positive emotion and association with the brand, and this feeling can influence consumer behavior. A well-designed logo not only represents the brand but also evokes emotion that strengthen the relationship between consumer and the brand. So let's dive into some contemporary logos and explore how their design shapes brand identity and consumer perception. Nike, the Nike swoosh logo is a perfect example of how a simple design can convey brand core value. The swoosh symbols motion, speed, energy, with are tied to the brand identity as the athletic wear leader. The black and white color is of its logo further communicate the power, the simplicity, and the versatility. And the logo is instantly recognizable. It captures the dynamic and motivational spirit of the brand. It goes beyond just representing a product. It connects emotionally with consumers who aspire to be faster, stronger, and more driven in their personal and professional lives. The logo acts as a reminder of the athletic goals. And Tesla logo is a simple, sleek T shape that stands for innovation, clean energy, and luxury. The minimalist design is fitting for a brand that is all about futuristic technology and environmental sustainability. So why it works is that the logo clean lines and modern design would convey the brand focus on cutting edge technology and environmental responsibility. And the role of color and shape in logos are the same as the above. Logos are not just about the symbol; their color and shape plays a key role too in emotional responses. The shape of a logo can evoke specific emotion. For example, round logo often suggests wholeness and approachability, while sharp angular logos can evoke a sense of precision and strength. For example, the Pepsi round logo with a bold contrasting color make the brand feel approachable, refreshing, and energetic. It had evolved over time to reflect the brand's youthful, fun-loving image, and the circular form that represent a sense of unity, while the red, white, and blue color reinforce the American roots and color, as said earlier, different color communicate different meanings. For example, the Facebook logo signifies trust, stability, and security. Yeah, the same as the previous part. And the one of the most powerful feature of the logo is simplicity. Simple logo are easy to remember, recognizable, and timeless. A good logo can work across different media platforms, adapting to various contexts while still maintaining its identity. For example, the Apple logo, the simple apple shape communicate elegance and modernity, and also the uniqueness make it one of the most iconic logo in the world. And a well designed logo does more than just look attractive, it creates a lasting emotional connection with consumers. Logo can influence consumer behaviors by reinforcing positive association, making the brand feel familiar, reliable, and trustworthy. When consumers see a brand logo, they don't just see a symbol, they feel something. That feeling often translates into loyalty. Over time, the logo becomes visual cues of the brand promise, whether it's about quality, trust, or innovation. And brand name are crucially visual stimuli that contribute significantly to the identity and recognizability of a brand. They serve as the verbal representation of the brand visual image and play a significant role in shaping how consumers perceive, remember, and emotionally connect with a brand. A well chosen name doesn't just identify a brand, it helps communicate its personality, value, and even its emotional resonance with the audience. Brand name can evoke memories, association, and mental images that influence consumer behavior. So, a brand name often serves as a quick and effective mental shortcut that allows consumer to instantly associate a product with specific qualities, experience, and values. A well-known brand name would create positive association that facilitate quick recognition, like brand name like Coca-Cola, Nike, or Tesla carry so much weight in consumer consciousness. This name convey trust, quality, and reliability even before the consumer interact with the product. And brand name can vary in complexity based on the engagement level of the product. For low engagement, like everyday product like chocolate, detergent, brand name are typically simple, catchy, and easy to remember. This allows consumers to quickly recall the brand when making purchasing decisions. Simple names are particularly effective when the decision making process is quick and low involvement. For example, uh, and high engagement product, on the other hand, engage like cars, smartphones, luxury goods, or often have more complex name. These names are usually more distinctive, unique, and might even evoke a sense of prestige or exclusivity. Move on to packaging, the visual and sensory power of first impression. Packaging is far more than just a functional element. It's a visual stimulus that play a pivotal role in shaping consumer behavior, influencing the brand perception, and creating an emotional connection with the product even before it is used. As consumer, we interact with packaging even before we experience the actual product, and first impression matters, especially when it comes to luxury and high quality goods. Visual stimuli such as color, designs, material, and shape are the first thing consumers notice when they interact with product packaging. These visual elements can trigger cognitive responses and emotional reaction that set the stage for how a product is perceived and valued. Packaging as a visual stimuli has a pertinent role because it's closely connected to many brands and products. Individuals have unique images of these brands in the memory, and packaging can in many cases represent the associations with brand product. Especially in the retail supermarket, packaging has a decisive role on the shelves, creating attention among individual for well-known brand. It's generally accepted that packaging has an extensive task regarding the design and shape of the packaging itself. And it has been shown that cute packaging design through display funny cartoon like pictures or playful colors increase consumer perception of a product tastiness and at the same time decreasing perception of the product healthiness. Moreover, it was found that consumer purchase intention for relative vice product increased the intention for relative virtue product decreased due to cute packaging. And packaging is not only about visual appeal, it's a multi-sensory experience. It engages taste, touch, smell, and sounds as well to enhance the consumer experience and create deeper emotional connection with the product. The material of packaging, whether it's a soft touch plastic, texture, cardboard, or smooth glass, can affect how consumers feel when they interact with the product. Tactile experience often engage with the somatosensory cortex in the brain, triggering the emotional responses and helping consumer to connect with the brand. Uh, Packaging can also engage other senses such as sound and smell, like the crinkle of a chip bag or the pop of the soda bottle can trigger emotion that reinforce the product experience. For example, the Lay's chip, the crinkle sound when opening the bag of Lay's chip is a small but impactful sensory detail that increases excitement and anticipation before eating the chips. And in the world of packaging, functionality and aesthetic must work hand in hand. Aesthetically appealing packaging attract attention, but the functionality of the packaging would ensure that the product remains intact and ready for use. Good packaging balance practicality with design, ensuring that it serves both functional and emotional needs. For example, IKEA assembly instruction is a very good example if we want to talk about this problem. And the taxonomy of the packaging is that it can be analyzed in two key dimensions, functionality and physicality. While physicality dimension includes the outer, the intermediate, and the inner packaging layers, while the functionality dimension refers to the role each layer plays in the purchase and consumption process. So about the physicality, the outer layer of the packaging is often designed to attract attention and establish a brand identity, while the inner packaging ensure freshness, safety, and ease of use. Functional packaging and ensure that the product is easy to use, store, and consume. In high-end product, it innovate packaging can enhance the overall luxury experience. There are some suggested additional study about this topic, and these are insights that drawn from it. And that is also the end of our chapter. This chapter provides a comprehensive exploration of the sensory principle of vision, with an emphasis on visual perception, psychological responses, and how visual cues influence consumer behavior, particularly in the context of branding, product, and service environment. Let's end this section with the case study of Victoria's Secret. Victoria's Secret, found in the 1977, it was traditionally seen as unattractive into an appealing product. The company's branding, especially its name, its logo, and store environment, played a crucial role in rapid rise to prominence. The name Victoria's Secret was chosen to evoke an aura of sophistication and mystery. The name Victoria was inspired by Queen Victoria, symbolizing royalty and elegance and high class, while secret was added to suggest the mystery of what hidden beneath a woman's clothing, and an ideal match for lingerie, which is traditionally private and intimate. By choosing Victoria, they link the brand to that Victorian era, which was known for association with class and status. Adding secret creates a sense of allure and hidden intimacy, crucial for selling lingerie. And the name evokes romanticism and luxury too, which are crucial to positioning the brand as more than just a practical undergarment. It's part of a sensual and glamorous lifestyle. And Victoria's Secret uses sensual imaginary, elegant design and luxurious color schemes on the product and stores to communicate the brand's value. Gold, black, pink are commonly used to create an aura of luxury, sophistication, and femininity. The use of angels in advertising has become one of the most iconic visual cues. These models symbolize confidence, beauty, and alluring sensuality. And the analyzing of Victoria's Secret branding, packaging, and visual cues offer valuable insight into how brands use sensory stimuli to create emotional connecting with customers too. And Victoria's Secret journey highlight the importance of adapting visual stimuli to consumer need, both in the term of aesthetic appeal and ethical values, to ensure long-term success in the ever-chasing marketplace. Because um, the portrayal of the Victoria's Secret angel has garnered criticism in the context of changing social trends and gender equality movement, and the emphasis of hyper feminine, sexualized beauty in the advertising can alienate women who feel excluded or misrepresented by this narrow image of beauty. And the Me Too movement and increasing calls for body inclusivity challenge the brand to rethink it represented for women. So that's why it needs to adopt to social trends. All brands needs to do that, and that is also the end of our presentation. My presentation. Thank you for listening.